Well, you're from Montreal. Are you
Yeah.
born and raised there?
Yeah.
So tell us about how metal is there. How is it
Yeah.
observed?
Metal's super, in my opinion, it's super strong in Montreal. Montreal to me is the metal capital of Canada. Lots of towns. I'm sure in Europe there's a lot of like cataclysms from there, Cryptopsy, Voivod. So there's like lots of metal bars, venues, lots of metalheads, both in the francophone and anglophone scene, and they all come together. And there's probably I go to shows 3 to 4 times a week. Yeah, I find myself try to be as active as possible in that scene, along with other cities. I travel a lot in Canada too to experience the other scenes and network, because that's how everything should work. You got to meet everybody. So Toronto's got a great scene. Also, Calgary's got a great scene. Vancouver's got a great scene. Edmonton. Everybody has their own scenes, and it's really nice to be able to travel and see the scenes. I've spent days in each city. There's so much Canadian metal, lots of metal festivals too, open air metal festivals on a smaller scale compared to Europe, but it's still very vibrant. There was Loud as Hell this year I went to. There's Armstrong Metal Fest. There's the Calgary Metal Fest. There's Shredmonton. There's the Black Morning Light. There's a lot. There's a lot of festivals. There's a tiny summer circuit, so it's great to experience.
When did your connection with Wacken start?
It happened through, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the band Skullfist here in Europe. They've toured a few times. They're from Canada. So their drummer JJ Targalia, he's in touch with the Wacken people, and he volunteered to do the Wacken battle for Canada, and then he called me up because I do PR and marketing across the country to kind of network with all the other promoters, and we set up now. Now over the last, we're going into year 5, we have 12 cities across Canada, which is a lot of organization because it's a big country, and so JJ takes care of most of the bigger things, and I just come in and I take care of the PR and the marketing. And yeah, we organize it from Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg, Regina, Saskatoon. Oh, it goes on. Toronto, Hamilton, Ottawa, Montreal, all those cities. And yeah, we send one winner to Wacken. And yeah, without JJ, it wouldn't happen. So I'm glad to be part of it and help out. And you know, it's good. The Wacken battles are good because they expose the Canadian talent to the Europeans, and we've had two winners from the Wacken battles in Canada, right? For the international, Crimson Shadows and Vesperia were the two big international winners from Canada. So that makes Canadian pride for our metal much more too. So it's good to see that.
Yeah.
For me, it was the amazement of how international Wacken is, because I met people from literally every part of the world. I met people from, even from the North American side, Mexico, there was Americans there too, Australians. I met a band from India, I met a band from China, I met a band from the Middle East. And then all the Europeans, and I was just like, and we all come together for one thing, which is metal. And that was amazing to me to see that, like, nobody judges anything, you know, screw the politics, screw everything else. We're all here for the love of metal, and that's what brings us all together. So it's a brotherhood and a sisterhood, and we don't care about anything else.
So you weren't that surprised that Austrians are not only into Mozart and yodeling?
Yeah. The Austrians, Claudia and Miriam, that I made friends at Wacken, were like my 2 favorite people. So glad to be in Vienna visiting them while I'm here too. So.
Well, you were talking about doing stuff also in the U.S. How is the connection to, let's say, this vast metal scene in the U.S.? How do you see that?
The U.S. is a big market. It's just there's more well, Canada's big geographically, but our population is smaller than the States. The States is about 10 times in population larger than Canada. So there's more cities to work with, but more work to do. And they have a lot of different metal scenes. There's a New York City scene, a Boston scene, a Philadelphia scene on the East Coast, and it just keeps going. And then there's the West Coast, California, all up the way to Washington State. And so there's so much to do. And I'm helping with doing the American battles for Vakken. And it's a lot of work because it's U.S. is just so many cities.
And of course, it's pretty tough for Canadian metal bands to break into the U.S. market, right?
Yeah, there's a bit, in my opinion, some politics with the visas. It's not like Europe. You can go from one country to the next. We have a lot of visa issues, so it's much more difficult to go from Canada to the States. But bands do it as long as you get the visas. With the Americans are super strict with their visas and stuff. But I've worked with a lot of Canadian bands that, like I'm sure Striker's familiar here in Europe, so Striker goes to the States. They just did a tour with Dark Tranquillity and Warbringer.
Mm-hmm. And of course, let's talk about a specific Canadian band, Voivod, because they're the icons.
Yeah, they're from Montreal and they are the icons. Yeah. Everybody looks up to them a lot on the scene. They play once in a while on the local scene here and there, just for the friends and stuff. And but I think they travel Europe mostly. They're mostly in Europe.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, super well respected. They're like, I don't know if Godfathers is the right term, but probably could be used like the Godfathers of Quebec metal. They really put Quebec metal on the map and for people to come see. I would say Montreal is an artist city. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of arts and culture, and it's a city where an artist can come and live in a sense, because it's not that expensive to live in Montreal too. So if you're an artist, just you come to Montreal. A lot of bands that are from other cities, from like Halifax on the East Coast, or even Toronto, just a little bit 6 hours away, they come to Montreal instead because you can be laid back and work on your art and not worry about like making lots of money. You know, you can concentrate. You can make enough money and then concentrate on your art too. Hi, this is John Asher from Asher Media Relations out of Montreal, Quebec, Canada. You're watching MULATSCHAG TV, the only TV you need.
MULATSCHAG!